Hello, my name is Rafael Seyf Ortiz from the Department of Applied Linguistics, and in this learning video I'm going to deal with a very important topic in academic English, hedging expressions. Hedging is very important in academic English because it establishes a distance between the claim or statement and the writer or speaker in academic language. These are the contents we will cover. First, we will have a look at the most important that clauses in hedging. Then we will have a look at the language of probability. Then the use of the most typical hedging expressions. The objectives are to know the most common hedging expressions used in academic English and also to know the function of these expressions and the use of these structures which are so important to sound formal and academic in English. Let's start with those that clauses. Different impersonal that clauses can be used with the purpose of distancing yourself from an argument, a claim, or point of view or opinion. In the phrases below, we can, for example, change the verbs, so they are quite flexible. For example, we can change suggest to show or indicate. The first structure starts with it, which is the empty or preparatory subject, which is very useful in formal English, to avoid phrases such as I would argue that, which is more assertive or more direct. For example, in the table here we have the different possibilities. Some of the possibilities. It is widely accepted, it has been argued, it's possible to argue, it has been suggested, or it seems fair to say that plus the sentence. For example, it has been argued that the reunification of the two Koreas would eventually be positive, or it seems fair to point out that most of these plans are accurate. As we can see, we can change the verbs to point out or some others. That clauses can also be used to refer to different studies from the literature or the research. For example, the latest research appears to show or indicate, studies show or have shown, the evidence suggests, statistics demonstrate or have demonstrated, or published sources or research indicate that plus the sentence. For example, studies have demonstrated that steel is not good for this application. We can also use this expression to refer to other people's statements, and they are used in hedging, therefore. For example, most people agree, some people say, many taxpayers feel, most economists argue, that plus the sentence. We can change, of course, the name of the group of people we are referring to. For example, most engineers agree that there are certain restrictions in this type of project. Would is a word that also has the function of hedging, because sometimes it is used as a hedging word with verbs such as appear, argue, assume, say, seem, or suggest. For example, some scientists would suggest that online information is not accurate enough. Then, the language of probability is also important in hedging because it allows us to be cautious, less assertive, in the past, present, and future. For example, the set of verbs, modal verbs, can, may, might, and could, can be used to say that something is possible. Can, may, might, and could, we can all be used to talk about the present. Could and might are more cautious than the other two. For example, there can be many reasons why a project is not completed. In turn, may, could, and might can also be used to talk about the future and past with the same hedging function. For example, we might see a significant rise in the number of international exchanges, or the problem could have been fixed more quickly years ago, referring to the past. Some other words that are not verbs, such as possible, adjective, and the adverbs possibly and perhaps, can be used in hedging to express a similar meaning, similar to can, may, might, and could. For example, it is possible to press this part for hours without making it bend. Another set of expressions are with the words should, likely, or unlikely. They allow us to be cautious, but also express a stronger probability that something will or will not happen in the future or in certain situation. Should, in this context, is only used to talk about positive outcomes. It's important to note that. For example, the infrastructure project should be completed soon. And here we have some other expressions. Because something is likely or unlikely to happen. It refers to the present, to the future meaning, that is the present tense. For example, sedentary people are likely to have health problems. Or, referring to the past, we have the expression that something is likely or unlikely to have happened, with a perfect tense. The oil leak is unlikely to have harmed the mechanism. Again, some other words, such as probably, which is an adverb, can be used with the same meaning, such as in this example. Scientists at NASA argue that the asteroid will probably pass close to the Earth. We can use different hedging expressions that are kind of fixed expressions that can be used to hedge, to establish a distance with a statement. And some of them are prepositional phrases. Here we have some examples. On balance, as a rule, in principle, to some extent, up to a point, in a or one sense, for all practical purposes, or more or less. All of these expressions are actually cliches, so we have to be careful not to overuse them. For example, this content can be updated more or less instantly, or in many respects, these materials should be regarded as malleable. And here we have another expressions, three other fixed expressions which can be useful in hedging, with a hedging effect. And they are used as connectors to link different parts of a sentence, clauses within a sentence. Insofar as, which is very formal, to the extent that, or in the sense that. For example, the reforms will be useful insofar as, or to the extent that, they address the needs of the community. In this case, these expressions are more cautious than if, which would be equivalent. And the proposal is more sustainable in the sense that it does not require a lot of electricity. In this case, it is slightly more cautious than the equivalent because. So, in conclusion, certain words, structures, and expressions in English are very important and very useful for hedging. The language of probability is, in the sense, very commonly used with the objective of hedging. And it is necessary not only to use these hedging expressions well, but also to know where to put them correctly in academic texts. Thank you very much for your attention.